Hi, and welcome to this tutorial. This is the first episode in a series I'll be making, which will cover how to make Garry's Mod UI. This assumes that you know how to code basic Lua. If you don't know how to code basic Lua, or even code basic Garry's Mod UI, like very basic UI, you probably shouldn't be watching this. You should find another tutorial, because I won't be explaining what this does and this does to say. For some specific UI things, I will be talking about what they do and why I do it. But you need to know how Lua syntax works, you know, to know the basics, Garry's Mod coding, etc. Okay, let's start. So, I'll also be teaching you good practices. And by this, the first one example is, we make a global table. In our language, you mostly call this a namespace, which means we'll include all our functions that are relevant to this. We'll make it the function a part of a table, and so we don't have any naming conflicts and stuff with other add-ons. We can call it whatever we want. Okay, and we start by defining our directory. We have this in the Lua order run tutorial UI underscore load.lua. We have this here, and we have the table for test, which I'll talk about later. I made a function which will include. We use it here to include all our files. You could make a loop if you wanted to. I like to control the loading order myself. And this is also shared file, by the way, so we have to define the realm we're working in here. This will only run on the server, which will only run on the client. Let's start by going through this. Okay, I'll move it over here. So here we have this is just a table with all call laws and stuff like this. I like to have this because this is a UI tutorial. So to have consistent UI, etc., we'll have this. You could name it as however you like. I might actually rename this. I'm at it. I'll show you in a second. Okay, and here we have another one. This is the shadows. There's something called Blue has made. He released it on Facebook forums. It's just to create some nice shadows. There's less work for us. It's fairly okay to use. It creates, as you can see, soft shadows around the thing. You can use it on absolutely everything. It's not an image, let's say. He actually generates it in code. And the next one we have here is this one. This is just a file I made for fun to create a minor function we'll be using. This Montserrat font is not included in Gmod by default. I'll be linking it in descriptions if you want to. It's a really great font. I absolutely love it. It's bold. It fits kind of design I want to do a lot. And we have elements frame. I'm blind. Yeah, this is where I'll tell you how to. We should be creating UI. Let's just change it here for now. Basically, we create an empty table. We just call panel because that's basically what we do. That's a convention in Garry's Mod to call this when you register a panel. We registered here, as you can see, and the first argument is the name of it. So if you want to create a keyframe, you obviously do this. If you know anything about how to make UI, Garry's Mod. But because we have registered ours, we can actually do this. The second argument refers to the table you'll be using, which again is just a panel here. And the third one is actually that's optional, because we want to use like what this does, right? Is it derives from it, bases it, whatever you want to call it. So that means that this is essentially equals to this, because we haven't written any code. So this is just an alias for keyframe for now. Okay, and for test, we have a small file here which creates. It's like this binds it to a console command, and it will run this function which does just creates the UI or frame and set the size, center it, make it actually usable, and set the title. Nothing major. Okay, so. Sure, you add a frame. Yeah. Console command opens this, just a frame, whatever. So let's start by making our own. We add this to editable panel, but you only really need this for frame. Reason is if we don't use this, we won't be able to interact with it. We won't be able to click buttons, type text in it. This is only needed for the frame itself, and stuff like Keyframe, the default ones, have this on them. This is a very bare bones panel. Also, keep in mind this is transparent. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't have a close button, so we have to create that. So first, we'll be creating an edit file. And while we edit, we can go. I have in my test, I have a set title. The editor panel doesn't have a title, so we can just comment out that for now. Close all this. Start by making a header. All this. The self.add is equal to. It's the same like this. It's just more concise to like this. It looks cleaner, my opinion. Now let's start making a panel. This panel we'll be using dock on. If you don't know what dock is, it's essentially a layouting mechanism. There's a panel that's been docked to the left here. See it over here? This entire, and we have a panel that's been docked to the right. And then in this panel we have something that's docked to the top, to the bottom, to the left, to the right. And those fill specific spaces. And we have the fill one. The fill one will always make sure to expand to fill the remaining space. Be aware that this only works. This will only detect all docked elements. So if you have something that's not docked, the fill might use the space it's actually using because it doesn't know it's docked. You could also set the position and the size if you wanted to manually, but I like this a lot more. It's faster. It's just plain out better. Okay, and now let's create a close button. Let's make sure it's the header we add to a D button, and let's put it on the right. Okay. Okay. I binded it to my buttons, so I can always open like this. You can see you have this. It's a button. It doesn't really do anything specific. Like it's just there to close the menu. It doesn't say anything. Because we haven't covered all that in yet. Okay. Let's start by the first part. Okay. So we want to be able to see this, right? So we have to override this to actually paint something here. And when we do this, our box is X. We want to use X. This is the X, Y, width, height. It's relative to the panel itself. So this is going to be top left and top left. Doesn't have any offset. We'll fill the entire panel. Okay, so let's start by going to theme. I actually want to rename this a little. I want to call it primary, because it's the primary color we have for this. And I want it to be 100. Just to start to be code 196, 225. Let's delete this. And then let's start by doing this. The primary. True, true, false, false. This is each corner. This is top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right. If it's real round, you can see here. You can see here that it's rounding this corner, but it's not rounding this corner. You can't see the corner here round because this button is in the way. Okay. So we want to start off by making our header larger. So what we can use that? We do like to change that. We can use the perform layout. This it will run. So you should use this. You should never set the size in this one. Always use this because this will happen. Like, whenever something changes in size, it will be called, and the entire panel will relay out. And you can, if something has to be like the panel size minus 20, it will be size if panel changes size, etc., etc. It's just much better, and it allows to create dynamic UI without having to do manual function calls, etc. Set tall. We don't have to care about width. Top handles that. The dock top handles width, but the height we should care about. As you can see on the right, I have defined this already. So now it's bigger. It's better in my opinion. Okay, so now we have this. Let's make our background. We have to use the paint function here. Panel paint. Again, the argument is verified, and then we do this. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're getting the absolute. Like instead of starting the X from here and Y from here, because this is where the panel starts, we start from up here. The reason we do that is because we're going to use the B shadows. You have to do it like this when you use B shadows. This is the intensity, this is the spread, and this is the blur. You can play around with this as you like. You can look at the face punch thread I've linked in the description to show you how to do this. We don't care about around the corners here. To make sure to use the AX and AY. It stands for absolute X, absolute Y. And then the width and the height should be the same. And then we want to use the background here. This should actually do the trick. See, now we have, you can see we have this shadow here around it. And we made our background the color we wanted because of this. Looks nice. I like this. Wrong button. So now let's make our this look better. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see this has like an X in here. It's small. It looks really bad. So let's use our own. Let's not use a font, because fonts and X's are not really the best. They're not square. Non-square font look kind of meh. If you want to use X, so what we actually want to do is we're going to use a material. While we're at it, we can use this. Okay. I want it so you can click here and it will close, but the X doesn't have to scale. Like, we don't want it to scale all the way out here. So I'm creating a margin, and I want to set it to 60. There's plenty of space we do it like that. We can set the draw core to material UI.beam the close button. Set the material to let's create a material here. Close button. I already have this included in my materials folders. You have to find an image if you want to. Like, if you want to have a material as a close button, you have to do this too. Add it yourself. Because I still think, like, this is a Lua tutorial. You can look up how you add materials to Garry's mod folder if you want to. Let's just make it short up by doing this. Okay. So we have margins. Okay, now you might be thinking, why times 2? Why times 2? Because we have to compensate for the left and from a right at the same time. So it doesn't just push it to the left for no reason. We have to actually to make it smaller so to have the same margin from both sides. Actually not sure, will this work? No, I forgot I have a close button equals, let's just say this. Oh, where I fuck up now? Oh, I misspelled something. Yeah. See. Let me remove the text, it looks horrible. See, now we have this. Reason it looks like this, stretch, is because in the perform layout we have to make sure that the close button has the same width as the header itself. Set a white self-header like a tall. Like, make sure that it's a bit tall, not square. It's because this handles it. This will almost handle the height, because it's docked to the right side, and this will always handle the width because it's docked to the top, as demonstrated here. So we have to make sure that it's by square for our, and as you can see here, it looks really nice when it's square. It's sleek, it's good. Something like when you have a frame, right? You also want to inform the user what's up here. Oh, in most cases you would. So we have to make a title. The keyframe also has this by default. By this we can create a D label. Header.title equals self header.add D label. And we want to dock it to the left. So one to the left. Header. And we create a font up here using our function we made previously. Remember to add this tutorial UI.header. Our function automatically adds this part. I should rename it header, my bad. And I want to have this. I want it to be 20 pixels. And then to make sure, we also have to set the text color. and we have that text h1. The H is for header, so the text, no, the headers. h1 equals car. 12, 12, 12. Let's just do 12, 12, 12. For no apparent reason, we do 12, 12, 12 by the way. Yeah, you can see you have this. It doesn't look right because it's not like it doesn't have a margin. It's like pushed further in. So the way we can do this is we can set text inset, and then we use X, which I want 16 because it's consistent with the margin up here, and then the Y. So that doesn't matter because this is center, so it's okay. I might actually want to make it a little bigger. Might look better. You can see how it cuts off. Oh, we can solve this problem fine. So a normal D-frame has the set title function, and we also have it before, but now it will error because it doesn't exist because we made our panel of an editable panel. So we have to make that function ourselves. So let me explain. And when we do this, you will set the title's text here, and then you will also size the context, which will make it fit. Like it will make it the width of the text. You can see it won't crop off anymore. And this is basically how you make UI. I like it. It looks really good. It's easy to use everywhere. You just have to, instead of like when you ever want to create something, instead of doing with D-frame, you just have to do with serial UI.frame. I can show you this in actual practical use here. This menu I made. It uses my frame here. Has a set tile that has an icon here. That's always set because I have a config in my UI library for this. Okay. So let me go. I have this open here because it mostly works the same way. I can actually just switch this out. Then I can open the menu again, and now we'll be using this UI for this path. You should be careful replacing D-frame stuff with your own stuff because there might be some add-ons that might use extra functionality that the D-frame has built in. I recommend just using this for all new add-ons you might be making. Because it's easy to create a consistent UI, like I have this, like all of this. It has the same basic UI structure to it in terms of colors, etc. Because it's all derived upon the same. This is all a D-frame. I just disable the close button for this. Just switch back. Yeah, it's fine. If you have any specific questions, please leave it in the comments. I'll be making a new episode about how to do navigation bars, like this one. I can make different tabs, you can make them look good, etc. And that should be coming soon. Well, thank you for watching. And as I said previously, if you have any questions, please leave them in a comment.